Does chatter really matter? Yes, you heard me right. This is the topic of today's video. Now, chatter is something that we all go through. This is your inner voice, this inner self-talk. And in this video, I will take you through the science behind this inner voice and how it has the ability to either make us or break us. Stick with me till the end. There is nobody who does not experience an inner voice. This inner voice can bring you feelings of hope, can bring you feelings that are uplifting. However, sadly, for majority of us, these feelings are more of doom and gloom and all the negative or the worst case scenarios that can happen to us. When you go through these negative feelings, you generally tend to go through them in a loop, which is like a cycle. And psychologists call it rumination. When you ruminate, you play that drama of the worst case scenario that could happen to you in your mind over and over and over again. And it leaves you feeling depressed. See, we all engage in some sort of a conversation with ourselves. Now, if you look at people who use the same ability to their advantage, for example, if you imagine a scenario where a person has to give a presentation to a group of people, they go through the presentation again and again and try and see where they can improve their abilities. Or it could be a chef who's trying to prepare a dish for their friends or their customers, and they try and refine the ingredients one thing after the other. Or it could be an athlete who's looking at their performance and trying to see where they can improve. That is where your inner self-talk is actually your guiding mechanism. It is actually problem solving for you. However, for majority of the people, they spend over a third of their awake life in either feelings of the past or living in the future. Now, if you're living in your past, it generally fills you with feelings of guilt for the things that you should have done, the way you have done, or what you didn't do. And if you're living in the future, there is a lot of uncertainty, and that is what leads to anxiety. So, either living in the past or living in the future, and that is what is creating your this mental self-talk, which is creating these scenarios. I call it the theater or the drama of life. And that is where this inner chatter begins to betray you. Now, this is what I say is that your inner best friend has turned into your worst enemy. Now, I don't care whether you apply this analogy to weight loss, because being a bariatric and a weight loss surgeon, I have seen that several of my patients go through this inner chatter. And this is being compounded by all the noise that they hear in their environment from Facebook, social media, WhatsApp, and watching videos about people who are self-proclaimed gurus and appear to know everything. I can tell you with hand on my heart that this is something which is always and is going to continue to trigger the stress response in your body. And if you are on this journey of health, wellness, and healing, you have to really learn to tone down this external noise, which is triggering the internal chatter. So people often ask me, Dr. Arun, you profess to claim that you that these are all tools that allow you to achieve health and well-being. Do you ever experience inner chatter? Well, I'll tell you the honest answer. I do. Yes. See, we are human beings, and that is the thing that whenever we experience this inner chatter, it gives us or it leaves us with feelings that are low, that bring us down. And I remember when I was going through a rough phase or a rough patch in my own life, I went to a mentor who told me about this story of King Solomon's paradox. Now, Solomon's paradox is a known thing in psychology. And what they said is that this character in Bible, whose name was King Solomon, who would always be preaching to others, but never practice those things to himself. Now, that is really the most important thing. If I am sharing something with you, it actually brings to light in my own life where I have fallen down and where I need to improve. Because, see, the most important thing is authenticity. And this is where I want to share with you three different strategies. They are very simple strategies, but as they say, what is easy to do is easy not to do. In my opinion, experience is the best teacher. You have to experience each of these strategies yourself to be able to understand what works best for you. But let me share with you my top three strategies to overcome your negative inner chatter. Inner chatter is mostly negative, and we have to use this inner voice to try and reframe it such that it becomes our best friend. So, my first strategy is that of what I do with my own inner voice on my own. So, I'm not relying on anything external. But what do I do on my own? Well, I have an affirmation card. I'll share with you something like this. It's like a postcard type thing on which I write an affirmation in which I start with my own name first. So, Arun, you are extremely happy and grateful for the blessings of joy, happiness, abundance, prosperity, whatever you want to call it. So, what you are doing is you are actually giving yourself a command. So, I say this to myself, Arun. So, I start with my name and then I say whatever I have to say. The name is important because your brain perceives that there is a command that is being given to you. Try that. Second strategy is that of people or friends or a companion that you might have. See, most of the people go to someone who is going to share with them their victim story. Victims attract victims. What I mean by that is, you might have heard birds of a feather flock together. It is really important if you are hurt, you are upset, you are angry. Yes, it is really important for you to go to someone who hears you, but they can only help you if they allow you to shift your perspective. If that is not happening, you are just being dragged down in that negative spiral of criticism, blame, shame, or guilt. So surround yourself with someone or find that one person who is not only your sounding board, but who also helps you in shifting your perspective such that you learn to look for a solution in the problem rather than getting sucked into the problem. And the third and the most important thing is my environment. See, the environment in which I live actually has a significant impact on my thinking. If you live in a cluttered environment, if you live in an environment where there is disorganization, there is chaos, I can tell you your thinking is going to be chaotic as well. Whereas if you are organized, living in a simple environment, in an environment where there is minimalism, which means you only have enough that you need, or whatever you have serves a purpose and brings you joy. Well, I can tell you, you will become more aware of this inner chatter and learn to shift it by the tools that I've just suggested into something that actually uplifts you. So, once again, do remember that experience is the best teacher. Try it out for yourself, and I can tell you, you will start to shift this inner chatter into a great force to reckon with that can change the course of your life. Take care and stay safe.